There is one phrase that drives me crazy when I see it on the internet, and that is the discourse around movies. This specific phrase, we don't make original movies anymore. Guess what? To everyone saying that, I'm going to spend about 15 to 20 minutes laying out 10 movies that are original this summer that you can go support. Films to get excited about. These are not the big blockbusters necessarily. These are not the franchise storytellings. These are not your Jurassic Worlds. These are not your MCUs. These are not your Superman. These are original stories. That's what I want to emphasize today. And I want to talk about 10 worth getting excited for. And it's going to be a variation. Some of them are smaller. Some of them are very big studio films that have a lot going in behind them that the studio is banking on. But again, it is to emphasize this point and this point directly. We still make original movies, just a lot of the time. You know what? You guys don't go to see them. I review them. You don't see them. So that's what I want to talk about today. Everyone who's saying support original films, let's talk the top 10 that I have, the 10 that I'm anticipating this year. Coming in at number 10, I have a little film from a fellow YouTuber. This is a film critic that I watched growing up quite a bit. I'm sure anyone who's watched movie reviews on YouTube probably knows this man well. It is ChrisStuckmann. He has a new horror film. It is his first horror film. He wrote, he directed, he produced this film. It got picked up by Neon Studios, and it is called Shelby Oaks. It premiered last year to one of the horror film festivals. It got picked up by Neon. Mike Flanagan's executive producing this film. This is a story of basically a haunted house, but from my understanding, it's more of a city. And there's these YouTubers who go into this city, and bad stuff happens. And it's a haunted house movie type thing. You know what? Like, here's what I want to say. This is cool for me, where it's just like, oh yeah, somebody who talks about movies, who loves horror films, is actually going out and putting his money where his mouth is. I've been a critic for a number of years. I have no interest in ever making a movie. The fact that he does is really cool to me. It's really exciting to me. Again, this is somebody that I watched quite a bit of on YouTube growing up. So that's a really cool thing that this guy is getting this opportunity, that he is able to make this type of movie. And I just want to support it because I think that's a really cool story. We've seen a lot of great film minds come from YouTube recently. There was that film a few years ago, Talk to Me. Those were guys who got their start on YouTube. Now, true, they got their start as filmmakers on YouTube, but there's a lot of talent everywhere. And this is kind of just a reminder that talent doesn't always have to go through the traditional lens of Hollywood, like the rise in Hollywood. It just comes from wherever. That's exciting to me. This film's coming out August 22nd. I believe this is a film that will be worth supporting. Coming in number 9, and this is where I talk about not all films are made equally. Shelby Oaks is a much smaller film that serves a very specific purposes. This film that's coming in at my number 9 is something bigger. It is supposed to be a big tentpole release for the studio releasing it, that studio being Pixar. But it is an original story, and that's Elio. This is the newest Pixar film. It is the last original Pixar film since 2023's Elemental. And essentially, as I saw the trailer for this movie, it is a kid who becomes, by accident, the intergalactic ambassador for Earth. This kind of reminds me of a lot of films. It reminded me, the trailer, I should say, at least reminded me of The Last Starfighter, Space Camp, Flight of the Navigators. It just has this kind of 80s space feel where it's a kid going into space and that discovery feeling. It kind of at some points gave Spielberg vibes. Here's what I'll say about it. I thought the trailer was cute. I've heard some mixed things about this movie. I know the studio hasn't been promoting it. But again, this is something, again, I constantly hear. And I'm sure all of you have heard it as well. Oh, Pixar isn't interested in making interesting films anymore. There's no more Ups. There's no more Wall-E's. There's no more Ratatouilles. All we get is sequel, sequel, sequel. Here's your chance to see an original film. Again, do we know it's going to be good? No, but is it something that looks new and different for Pixar? It does do that. It's going to have a voice supporting cast of Zoe Saldana in this film. The Pixar directors / crew of this movie, they've worked on all numbers of Pixar films. One of the directors of this film also directed Turning Red. There's a lot to be excited about this film coming out on June 20th, and I'm definitely going to be seeing this and hoping for the best. If we can get a great original studio film from Pixar, that's a huge win in my book. Coming in at number 8, And I was kind of wrestling where I wanted to put it. And then I saw the poster for the movie together and I heard the premise. And I'm like, you know what? I'm really interested in this film that premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2025. Essentially, let me explain the premise to you. It reminds me quite a lot of a David Cronenberg film, and that is this is a body horror film about a codependent couple who kind of just looks like they start morphing together. This stars real-life couple Dave Franco and Alison Brie. It's a, as I've heard it described, psychological horror black comedy. Those are all genres I'm interested in. I like this bringing in their real relationship into this movie. I always find that fascinating when we see that on film, and to talk about something like, you know, codependency on it. I just think this is such an interesting premise. I've heard it's a gnarly, weird, disgusting film. Everything sold on me for this film. This film will be coming out August 1st. Very curious to see what Together has on. Coming in at number 7, which before we get to my number 7, make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're still watching. Number 7, we have the first of this list, the A24 release. I have a few A24 films coming up. This one is one from a director who I've never really gotten in on. I know a lot of people love the work of Ari Aster, and it's just never fully clicked for me. Like, I like Hereditary in moments and in bits and pieces, but it's not one that I would call a great film like other people. I thought his last film, Beau is Afraid, was insufferable. So why am I anticipating Eddington? I don't really know how to explain it, except that when I watched that trailer with Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro Pascal, it hit a nerve, and it was maybe something that I've been either seeking. It was a movie that I thought was incredibly funny in its relevancy. And for those who do not know, it is a psychological horror comedy about the pandemic. Here's the premise. Joaquin Phoenix plays a cop. Pedro Pascal plays a mayor in this small town of Eddington within New Mexico. And it seems like they go to war over something to deal with the pandemic. All we know about this movie is it also stars Emma Stone and Austin Butler. That's a great cast right there. Like, that's a fantastic cast that Ari Aster got. It's going to be premiering in a few weeks at the Cannes Film Festival. It will then be coming out for July 18th. I want to like Ari Aster more than I do. And I also, even when I watch a film like Beau is Afraid, which I just found, to be honest, pretty dreadful to watch, there was still moments of that film that worked for me. There is cinematography in that film. There is a production design. There is a wild Joaquin Phoenix performance in the middle. There's like a really funny role from Richard Kind in the movie. Like, there's aspects of that movie that I watch and like that I want to believe that Eddington can kind of do it for me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm naive. I just want to believe that Ari Aster doing essentially his spin on a Western movie, that's just really interesting. And it, like I said, I watched that trailer, it like scratched an itch for me. Number 6, and I know people have been making fun of this trailer since it came out. I was one of the few who liked and defended this trailer. It is Materialists, the new A24 film. This is the follow-up to Celine Song film Past Lives from a few years ago, which earned her multiple Oscar nominations. This, to me, reminded me a lot of the Will Smith film Hitch, where it is essentially this matchmaker in New York who finds herself in a hard decision. She has this perfect match in Pedro Pascal. Pedro Pascal coming up on this list twice. And she also can choose from her imperfect ex, played by Chris Evans. Now, I saw the trailer for this movie and I'm like, this kind of looks like every rom-com meet cute book that my girlfriend reads, where it's just like, you know, those covers that you see at Barnes & Noble. You know the covers I'm talking about. You know the offers that I'm talking about. Like, it very much reminded me of that, which I'm like, from Celine Song, that just doesn't seem right. Like Celine Song with what she does in Past Lives, the humanity that she's able to display. I'm like, I have a feeling Materialist is more than that. But also, if this movie's just a really good rom-com, we don't get enough of those these days. And to have 3 good, compelling actors at the center of it, in Chris Evans, Dakota Johnson, Pedro Pascal, like, I think that has a lot of promise to it. I am hopeful for this movie coming out in June, and I really want this thing to be special. Maybe a little bit better than I want to have the trailer. And again, maybe that trailer is just a little misleading, trying to get audiences in. I just have a lot of faith in Celine Song after what she did with Past Lives. Number 5, and maybe this film is too low on this list, I have one of the newest films coming out from Warner Brothers. It is Zach Cregger's follow-up to Barbarian. We have weapons. And I'm just going to read what the poster says, which you guys can see on the screen right now. The poster states, last night at 2:17 a.m., every child from Miss Gandy's class woke up, got out of bed, went downstairs, opened the front door, walked into the dark, and they never came back. I mean, that's a premise. That is intrigue. That is scary. Like, that is just creepy. Like, that is what I'm looking for. Zach Cregger, Barbarian's one of my favorite horror films to come out of the past few years. It reminded me so much of early Sam Raimi work. I thought it was so funny. I thought it was so disgusting. I thought it was just a really smart, fun horror film. So to see that he has weapons, to see that he has a cast of Josh Brolin, Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, like, that all gets me excited. Zach Cregger then being like, this is my tribute to Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia. Like, I'm just like, I don't even know what that means. And like, you just said a lot of words that I'm interested in. You said like a lot of key triggers for me. And I'm like, yep, Zach Cregger, you've got me. I will be seeing weapons. This film looks very exciting. And this trailer is creepy with a capital C. Coming in at number 4, and I don't want to say clown this movie. I've been questioning what this movie is, but ultimately I'm like, you know what? Joseph Kosinski's follow-up to Top Gun Maverick, I should say his real follow-up to Top Gun Maverick, with Brad Pitt as a former F1 driver. Does this movie essentially kind of look like Cars? It's like Brad Pitt essentially Doc Hudson. You could probably make that comparison because this is a movie about a former F1 driver who retires in the 90s due to a medical incident / accident while driving and is asked to come out of retirement to mentor a rookie prodigy. This movie looks exactly like Top Gun Maverick. Like, even the way the shots are composed and the way this movie uses kinetic speed, like in the trailer, like the Hans Zimmer score, everything that we're seeing from this movie looks so familiar. With that said, Top Gun Maverick was my favorite film of 2022. So even if this is like a 50% lesser film than Top Gun Maverick, that means I'm still going to enjoy F1. Do I know if Brad Pitt can muster that same energy and excitement that Tom Cruise can? I don't know, but it is a movie where guys are going to be driving fast, and it's going to be filmed by someone who is really good at capturing kinetic energy. We'll see how it is, but a lot to get excited for June 27th. Coming in at number 3, this is the film that will also be coming out at the beginning of June. This June is stacked. We have another Neon release. This is based on a Stephen King novella from 2020. Sci-fi drama by the name of The Life of Chuck. This is directed by Mike Flanagan, who's kind of made himself like, I don't want to say he's like the Kevin Feige of the Stephen King universe, but there is a very clear interest and love for the Stephen King mythology that he seems to want to put himself in and be kind of like the creative keeper of that. This is a movie that I had known nothing about. I tried reading what the movie The Life of Chuck is about. I don't understand, except that it's a sci-fi drama and it's very sentimental. And some people are going to think it's probably a little bit too cheesy or a little bit too sentimentally kind. I don't know. There's something about kindness. There's something about when Stephen King taps into something softer, whether it's Shawshank Redemption, like a film like that, Stand By Me, like there's a magic to that. This film, incredible cast. Tom Hiddleston, Jacob Tremblay, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Karen Gillan, Mark Hamill, just to name a few, won the Audience Award at the Toronto International Film Festival last year. Films that have done that before, Jojo Rabbit, American Fiction, like there's been a lot of films that I really enjoy from Toronto International Film Festival that go on to win the Audience Award, where I'm just like, okay, typically my tastes can align very much with the people, and the people nominated The Life of Chuck, and they awarded The Life of Chuck. And I'm just like, you know what? There was probably a lot to really anticipate about this movie coming out June 6th. It is enough to make it on this list. Number 2. Honestly, this could be my number 1. This is one of the experiences that I have been waiting the longest for. This is also a film that premiered at the same Toronto International Film Festival that premiered The Life of Chuck. This came in second, if I'm correct, for the Audience Award. This is a comedy, a movie that I constantly hear people say online, we don't make anymore. We still make them. We just don't release them to theaters. And this one's being released to theaters. And it stars two really funny people in Paul Rudd and Tim Robinson. I think you should leave Tim Robinson being in an A24 film called Friendship, which the trailer describes this movie as I Love You Man for sickos. To me, this looks like What About Bob for even more sickos. This is about a guy who's really annoying and can't take a hint. Essentially, he plays a neighbor to, I believe Paul Rudd's character is a firefighter, but maybe that's wrong. He might be a weatherman. I think he's actually a weatherman. And he just can't get a hint. He just cannot take the hint that Paul Rudd doesn't want to hang out with him anymore. Tim Robinson, if you're in on the humor, if you think this is funny, then, I think he's one of the funniest sketch comedy guys we've had in quite a while. If you don't get it, then you're not going to get this movie probably, because this movie looks exactly like a Tim Robinson sketch. I am so eagerly anticipating seeing this movie opening weekend with my friends. Everyone who's a fan of Tim Robinson, I think they're kind of eagerly anticipating this movie, and I think we're all kind of ready to laugh our asses off. I hope that's what Friendship gives us, which brings us to our number one, which you have to kind of guess what's going on this list, especially if you followed this channel at any point. And if you're liking this channel, again, shameless plug, subscribe below. But number one, this is able to reach all levels of interest for me. Try guessing the movie if you haven't. It is a movie that I've heard described as an espionage thriller, a director's send-up of the James Bond films. This is a movie with an incredible A-list cast, 10 guys who would be able to lead any movie, and they're just supporting actors in this movie. And this is the 12th feature film from this director. I am, of course, talking about the Phoenician Scheme. FocusFeatures releasing the new Wes Anderson film. Yeah. From everything that I've heard about this film, this is essentially James Bond, but Wes Anderson. This is his send-up of the James Bond universe. This is his spy movie. This is his espionage thriller. This will be premiering at Cannes and then, in theory, coming out, I believe, May 30th in the United States. Here's the cast, and this is all enough to get me excited. Listen to the star power. Benicio del Toro, Michael Cera, Riz Ahmed, Tom Hanks, Bryan Cranston, Jeffrey Wright, Scarlett Johansson, Benedict Cumberbatch, Bill Murray, Willem Dafoe, a bunch of them regulars now with Wes Anderson. The fact that Tom Hanks is now just seemingly a regular for Wes is super cool. Michael Cera in that trailer looked like everything you'd want out of a Wes Anderson character. I'm so eagerly anticipating this. Wes barely lets me down. And I want this film to be so special. I think Grand Budapest has a lot of the flavors of this movie. Of the trailer that I watched, I'm like, ooh, this movie really reminds me of the humor that the Grand Budapest Hotel delivers on. If you're telling me this movie could be anywhere close to as good as the Grand Budapest Hotel, we're in for a good time. And from early reviews from some people that I know who have seen this film, the rumblings are this movie's good, as most Wes Anderson films are. So that's the 10. To run it again, Shelby Oaks, number 10. Elio, number 9. Together, number 8. Eddington, number 7. Materialists, number 6. Number 5 is Weapons. Number 4 is F1. Number 3, The Life of Chuck. Number 2, Friendship. And number 1, Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme. So what movies are you anticipating this summer? What original films are you going to be checking out? Which ones have I not mentioned that should be on this list? Let me know in the comments below. So thank you to everyone who watched this video. I'll be back in the next few days. Speaking of original films, I will not be reviewing any of them. I am going back to the blockbuster schlock. I am reviewing Thunderbolts, which maybe is good. I've heard good things about it. I'm kind of surprised with the good reviews that this movie is getting. I'm hopeful. Maybe it's a really good movie and I'm going to be excited to talk about it on this channel. Either way, make sure to subscribe down below. And thank you all for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.